Shark attacks and encounters in 2022 that left the world in shock. Surfers and underwater explorers often come under attack by sharks. However, it is not an everyday phenomenon. Shark attacks occur worldwide, which is normal and consistent with previous years. The difference is in the fatality rate. According to some experts, this could be seen as bad luck as year-over-year figures always fluctuate. But there is another possible culprit: the climate crisis. Ecosystems are being destroyed and forced to adapt due to the rise in ocean temperatures. Fish are migrating to hitherto uncharted places. Species behaviors are changing. With the changing of the marine world, sharks follow their prey and move closer to famous shores. In this video, we will talk about shark attacks and encounters in 2022 that left the world in shock. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up, share, and subscribe to the channel to see our latest content. Without further ado, let's begin the video. Kiowa Island. The first shark attack in 2022 occurred in South Carolina, but the woman to whom it happened was visiting from New Jersey. She was always beach-loving and would make her way to the waters anytime she could. She's loved the ocean since she was a child, and she's even enjoyed swimming with other sea creatures like stingrays and barracudas. Her previous experiences helped her gain more confidence and love marine life. However, on May 24, 2022, she had a much too close encounter with a shark. She was only about waist-deep in the water. Just after noon, she felt the shark bite down on her leg before letting go and leaving her alone. Unfortunately, her love for the ocean has shifted, as she now can't help but fear what might be swimming underneath, especially when the water is too cloudy to see clearly. Monterey Bay. This shark attack occurred at Lovers Point Beach, located nearly 90 miles south of San Francisco. The male swimmer was in the water, and he suffered significant injuries to both his stomach area and one of his legs. He's a surfer, someone well acquainted with the water, but this shark attack caught him by surprise. He was immediately taken to a local hospital to ensure he received the proper care. Understandably, the scene at the beach was incredibly hectic as the man emerged and was rushed to the hospital. Later, he was identified as Stephen Broomer, a man in his 60s who has been enjoying his retirement and previously served as a professor at Monterey Peninsula College. Unfortunately, he emerged with a broken femur, but the good news is that he survived the attack. Florida Keys. A 35-year-old woman visited the Florida Keys with her husband and their 2 daughters. Her name is Lindsay Bruns, and it was close to 7 p.m. when they decided to take an evening dip in the water. She enjoyed jumping from the pontoon's platform and tried to flip during her last jump. When she hit the water, her husband felt the splash was much too loud. As soon as she emerged from the water, she panicked. She was screaming for his help. Her husband watched as blood flooded the water around her. Without hesitation, he jumped in to help her back onto the pontoon. She was covered in blood and had a gash on her right leg. Her husband worked quickly and placed a rope tourniquet around her leg to control the bleeding before alerting the emergency response team. They were instructed to head toward a nearby restaurant so the medical team could assist. Other medical personnel already in the area were able to get them to the restaurant safely. The wound on the woman's leg was consistent with that of a shark bite. It went from the top of her hip to the space above her knee. She received a blood transfusion and was then transported by helicopter to Miami, where she was received by hospital staff. She had to undergo several hours of surgery, and there was some uncertainty about the viability of her leg. A couple more surgeries were performed, and it's expected that she will regain most of her leg's functionality. Florida Beach, FL. This 4th shark attack in 2022 had something unreal about it. This teenage girl was only about 5 feet underwater collecting scallops when she felt something chew on her leg. Immediately, she knew she was in trouble. Addison Bethy says that when she turned to look at her leg, she noticed a large shark feasting on her. Luckily, her brother was there with her, and he was able to grab her and kick the shark away quickly. Unfortunately, the damage to her leg was so severe that her leg had to be amputated right above her right knee. She was rushed in for emergency surgery when she arrived at the hospital, but attempts to restore blood flow to the leg were not entirely successful. During this holiday weekend, there were several other reported shark attacks, some unconfirmed, though the lacerations were consistent with shark bites. New Smyrna, FL. During the same holiday weekend, a shark attack was reported by a man surfing out by New Smyrna Beach, located in Volusia County. The attack occurred just before noon when the surfer fell off his board. Shortly after, he felt a bite on his left foot and was taken to the hospital. Luckily, the injury wasn't life-threatening. Although he survived this shark attack, it's certainly an experience he will never forget. Long Island. When there's a shark attack, beach closures are usually the next step taken as a precaution to prevent more injuries. This shark attack occurred off the coast of Long Island, New York. This man's body sustained several wounds and was rushed to the hospital. Luckily, He survived the incident, and although it's considered rare for this to occur, 2 beaches were closed because there's been an increase in shark attacks on the East Coast. This man is a lifeguard named Zach Gallo, and he was actually in the middle of an emergency exercise when this happened. Role-playing with a team of other lifeguards, he took the victim role, not knowing that he would become one. The shark that bit him was somewhere between 4 and 5 feet long. It hit him in the chest and also injured his right hand. Despite the attack, Gallo could walk out of the water on his own and get bandaged up before he was rushed to the hospital. Officials believe that the sudden changes in the weather have led sharks closer to these areas, explaining why there have been more sightings and attacks. Ocean Beach, NY. This next shark attack also happened to a lifeguard. The lifeguard in this story was 17-year-old John Mullins. He was in the middle of training with other lifeguards near Ocean Beach on Fire Island when he felt a strange sensation on his foot. He describes that he felt the teeth inside his skin, and when he naturally responded by yanking his foot out, he felt the teeth scrape against him as if he had a rake going upward into his foot. Nobody present that day expected a real emergency to occur during training, but all parties involved handled the incident extremely well. Mullins was only about 150 yards from shore when he felt the shark bite. He's always been a great swimmer and has been well acquainted with the ocean throughout his life. He says his next time in the water will likely be scary, but he knows he'll be okay. He needed 5 stitches on his foot and had to take a short break to keep his foot out of the water until it healed completely. Smith Point Beach, Long Island. After this shark attack, swimming was no longer allowed at Long Island Beach, NY. It had been the second apparent attack by a shark that same day. First, a surfer named Sean Donnelly walked away from the incident with a gash that spanned 4 inches to his leg. He believes he was bitten by a sand tiger shark. He reported to officials that he had been knocked off of his surfboard and then bitten by the shark. It was very early in the morning, around 7 a.m. To protect himself, he punched the shark multiple times until, eventually, a wave helped get him over to safety. At the moment, he did what he could, and when he saw he had all 4 limbs, he experienced massive relief and got himself to shore. Just after 6 p.m. that same day, a man visiting from Arizona also suffered a shark bite. He was in the water, only waist deep, when suddenly a shark appeared from behind him and bit his behind and his left wrist. He was able to walk out and get to safety, but he was rushed by helicopter to a nearby hospital. Luckily, in both of these events, the men survived. However, this location has seemed to become a hotspot for shark attacks since it's close to where a lifeguard had been attacked only 2 weeks prior. Locals are becoming increasingly concerned about shark sightings and attacks in the area, and officials are working with researchers to try and understand what has caused the increase in shark presence so close to shore. Myrtle Beach, SC. In Myrtle Beach, 2 shark bites happened on the same day. One was a minor injury to the leg, while the other was a more severe injury to a woman's arm. Karen Seitz is the woman who suffered an arm injury. In water that only reached her waist and along with her 8-year-old grandson, the shark came through and locked its jaw down on Seitz's arm. Her natural instinct was to fight it off, which she did until it finally released her. The wounds were so severe that she required hundreds of stitches. That's a wrap for today. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up, share, and subscribe to the channel to see our latest content. Comment down below and tell us, what incident on the list did you find the scariest?